How's it going, everyone? My name is K-Mully. Pokemon Platinum with only a Cacnea was really fun to do. Today, I want to go back to Kanto and see if I can beat Pokemon Fire Red with only Snorunt. Now, I'm not trying to give the cold shoulder to Snorunt, but its base stats are 50 across the board. It learns most ice moves and some defense moves, so I'll be focusing on raising its special attack and speed. In terms of its moves, they could be worse. We start off with Powder Snow and Leer, but at level 7, we get Double Team. Shortly after, we get Bite and Icy Wind, which can flinch and lower speed respectively. Small TM pool, but it's again focused on more defense. I feel as though most of our strategies will involve trolley status inflictions. I'm writing the script before I begin the challenge. We most likely will need to have crazy defenses or be able to one-shot everything. The Elite Four will take a lot of trial and error, and the rules are pretty simple. Only Snorunt in battle. I can use other Pokemon for HMs, but they can't fight. No using items in battle except for held items, and no glitches or exploits. Using the Universal Pokemon Randomizer, I replaced Bulbasaur with Snorunt so that our rival will have Charmander. This will make the challenge even tougher. I nicknamed it Yukina after the anime Yu Yu Hakusho. Leave a comment down below if you get the reference. First rival fight, and we actually win. Our nature is relaxed, so plus defense and minus speed. I wish there was a way to turn off Oak's side comments during this fight. Anyways, the battle is a back and forth between Scratch and Powder Snow, but we actually pull off the freeze on Charmander. It doesn't last long, but on the last turn we outspeed and get the last hit. In Viridian Forest, we gain access to Double Team and Bite, which helps our moves. This makes going through Brock's team super easy. Geodude and Onix do have low special defense, which makes Powder Snow more effective. While in Mount Moon, we learn Headbutt and Bite, two good moves that have the chance to flinch the opponent. During the battle against the Super Nerd, I favor those moves instead of Icy Wind, as getting off the flinch will be more beneficial. Snorunt has been breezing through the levels and is keeping on pace with the rest of the trainers so far. Hopefully this keeps going well. Before taking on Misty, I want to get a few levels from going to Bill's house first. On the way, I face off against our rival. Icy Wind is fantastic and probably the best move I could ask for early on in the game. Pidgeotto hangs on barely, but we finish it off with Icy Wind. Charmander was an easy Icy Wind and Headbutt combo. Our special defense isn't great, so Ember does do some damage, but besides that, no issues. Abra can't do anything harmful, and Rattata hardly hurts us with Quick Attack. With the right luck, Misty's gym is winnable at a lower level. The smaller screen shows how unlucky I am. Anyways, at level 30, we try again, but with Crunch, an 80 power Dark type move that can lower special defense potentially. I use Double Team on Staryu and one-shot it with Crunch. Starmie is faster than me, so I make sure to use Icy Wind on the first turn it's sent out. It's able to land a Water Pulse, bringing us down to half health, but with no confusion to worry about, we're able to counter back with one last Crunch. Before taking on our rival, I make sure to fight all the trainers on the Sazan. Even being 10 plus levels higher, there's still a decent amount of Pokemon that can outspeed us and can one-shot us. Along the way, we gain access to Ice Beam. I don't want to learn it since the speed draw from Icy Wind will be more useful later on. The actual fight with our rival goes smoothly. Icy Wind takes out Pidgeotto, Icy Wind and Headbutt combo on Charmeleon, as well as Raticate. Kadabra is last and uses Disable, preventing us from using Headbutt, so I use Crunch predicting him to do that. The Electric type gym is another easy win for us. Icy Wind keeps doing way more damage than I anticipated. While we have a moment, I highly recommend following me on Twitter. I post updates on new videos and other stuff about my life. His last Pokemon is Raichu, which survives an Icy Wind. We finish up with an Headbutt and get paralyzed, although it doesn't really matter at that point. This is probably the smoothest run I've had so far in terms of not needing to grind. However, I fear I might become too confident with myself. For the next rival fight, I decided not to use Icy Wind or Double Team. It goes pretty well until Charmeleon uses Ember and finishes it off with a burn. On the next attempt, I use Double Team once and try again not to use Icy Wind. Pidgeotto and Charmeleon go down, and Execute survives with a sliver of health. We use Crunch for overkill and move on to Kadabra. Same as last turn, it goes down with a single Crunch. Gyarados uses Thrash, which only gets stronger each turn. After a few crunches, it goes down as well. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, grass types, should be an easy sweep. It's only an easy sweep if Icy Wind lands and we don't get paralyzed. Victory Bell goes down to a critical Icy Wind and Tangela to a regular one. Vileplume survived and uses Sunsporn on us. Next turn, it uses Giga Drain and we miss with Icy Wind. The following turn, we manage to land one last Icy Wind. First Giovanni battle, and we just crunch and munch on Onix and Rhyhorn like they were raw candy. Speaking of candy, I definitely recommend checking out my Pokemon Sweet Let's Play. King Kong is actually pretty tough. One bite takes a third of our health, while our Crunch hardly does anything. Mega Punch takes out another third from us, but we bring it down to half with Icy Wind. Next turn, Crunch is able to win us the battle. The difficulty level is starting to spike up a bit. Most Pokemon are now requiring 2 to 3 hits to faint. This is definitely showing in Koga's gym. Coughing is usually able to get off a Toxic, Smokescreen, or Sludge. These are all moves that can make the rest of the battle that much tougher. Also, on the rare occasion, it'll use Self-Destruct, knocking us out with it. The fight with Muck is basically who can attack first after stalling for 2 minutes with evasion and status moves. I equipped the leftovers hoping that would help heal off some of the poison damage. After a lot of grinding, I bought a Shadow Ball from the game corner. In Generation 3, Shadow Ball is a physical move which works great against Muck's weak defense stat. After that, it was a matter of time before Wheezing went down. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Why the hell does our rival feel like challenging us during a criminal takeover of a giant corporation? Anyways, Charizard is the main threat on his team, and he'll use Flamethrower and Scary Face. In my first attempt, it got off a Scary Face after surviving Icy Wind, lowering our speed instead. Next turn, it uses Flamethrower, bringing us down to yellow. We counter with Headbutt, but it barely hangs on. It outspeeds next round and finishes us off. I start off the next attempt by setting up 3 double teams on Pidgeot. Once Charizard is sent out, I go for an Icy Wind. This is in case it uses Scary Face on us. Luckily, it keeps missing Scary Face, and we use enough Shadow Balls to bring it down. Execute and Alakazam go down easily to a Shadow Ball each. Gyarados is last and lowers our attack and defense. Icy Wind is only 95% accurate, so we miss a few times. Eventually, we do land one last Icy Wind, finishing. I have to be more careful with Giovanni's team. Now that I replaced Crunch with Shadow Ball, we only have 2 moves that can deal any damage to Kangaskhan. I try using Shadow Ball as often as possible to help save on power points for the other moves. Nidoqueen is able to use Double Kick, but her high defense makes it barely do any damage to us. Kangaskhan misses the Fake Out, which I thought was kind of funny. Even with our buff defense, Mega Punch does a decent chunk of damage, but ultimately it goes down to a combination of Icy Wind and Shadow Ball absolutely demolishes Sabrina's Psychic type team, but that's not surprising. Her Venomoth is Bug Poison, so that works great for Icy Wind. Alakazam goes for Calm Mind, which buffs his special attack and special defense. That's great for us since Shadow Ball is physical in this game. Fun fact, according to Bulbapedia, Shadow Ball was introduced in the anime prior to the games. Thought that was an interesting find while researching for this run. Blaine's gym actually required an update from our usual plan. His Arcanine is his highest member at level 47. Growlithe and Arcanine cut our attack twice with Intimidate. Although Headbutt is nice, I went ahead and replaced it with Water Pulse. I set up with Double Team since we can only realistically survive a single Fire Blast. Water Pulse takes out Growlithe and Ponyta easily, but isn't strong enough to take out Rapidash. It'll bring it down to Red Health, then heal off with Hyper Potion next turn. On that turn, I use another Double Team for extra safety. Next, Water Pulse is able to confuse it and it hits itself into red. Blaine uses another Hyper Potion as we bring it down to yellow. We use Shadow Ball after Blaine uses a full heal to remove the confusion. Arcanine is last and Water Pulse is able to confuse that as well. Next turn it hits itself and goes down to Water Pulse. Okay, time for the last Giovanni fight. Icy Wind is able to take out Rhyhorn in one shot. Nidoqueen hangs on and heals next turn. It tries using Earthquake and Double Kick, but again our defense is high enough where we don't have to worry about that. A couple of Water Pulses are needed before he faints. Nidoking is next and just like his queen, survives Water Pulse with additional confusion. It heals it off and goes down after a few Shadow Balls. Dugtrio misses its Earthquake and falls to Icy Wind. The last rival fight is pretty similar to the rest of them. We still set up with double teams on Pidgeot since Charizard and Gyarados are the bigger threats. Water Pulse is able to confuse, but it fails to land Flamethrower. Just like Sabrina's Alakazam, this one goes for Calm Mind even though using a special move against us would be way smarter, so much for having an IQ of 5000. Gyarados is last and is able to land a Hydro Pump, although it hardly damages us. A few Icy Winds is all that it takes to bring it down. I fully intended to replace Water Pulse with Double Edge or even relearn Headbutt from the Move Relearner. This battle took me one attempt, but the original clip is over 10 minutes. 10 minutes and 37 seconds to be exact. Dugong is up first and sets up with Hail. In my previous runs, Lorelei will switch to Lapras if a Water-type move is used against her. Lapras has Water Absorb for an ability, so it heals off damage when hit with the Water-type move. Knowing this, I opted for a Shadow Ball. After a few of them, Dugong goes down. Next is Cloyster, and its gimmick is to set up and stall. So I used this time to set up Double Team and heal off some damage with Leftovers. I decided to go ahead and use Water Pulse to save power points on the rest of my moves. Slowbro went down after some Shadow Balls and Water Pulses. Lapras is why this battle took way longer than needed. Starting off, I'm using Icy Wind for chip damage to save Shadow Ball usage. Lorelei only uses one Florsaur in Lapras, so I was able to beat it before running out of Shadow Balls. Last is Jinx, who actually tanks Water Pulse. I just keep hoping Water Pulse could bring it down, and eventually we get lucky. Bruno is actually a challenge. Each of his team members can do a lot of damage to us. Both Onix can lower our speed with Rock Tomb and use Iron Tail to lower our defense. We can take them out with Water Pulse and Icy Wind, but at our current level, we are no match for Hitmonchan. I used a few of the rare candies and try again at a higher level. Same strategy as before for both of the Onixes. For Hitmonchan, we have speed, but I do use Icy Wind just in case it lands a Rock Tomb and lowers our speed for the rest of the battle. That seems to be working well, and we finish it off with a Shadow Ball while healing with Leftovers. Hitmonlee is out and gets off a powerful Brick Break. We use Icy Wind that does a ton of damage, but Hitmonlee outspeeds and finishes off next turn. I decided to go train on the Sevi Islands as I ran out of rare candies. While there I managed to get us to level 84. I felt as though this would be high enough to survive any powerful strikes. On Hitmonchan, I use a double team on its first turn. It's less likely to use a move to lower our stats, and we can take a couple of hits from it. I use Shadow Ball as Hitmonchan's defense stat is considerably lower than its special defense. Hitmonlee survives a Shadow Ball and gets off a Brick Break. We are strong enough where Brick Break won't one-shot us or leave us in red health. For Machamp, I use Shadow Ball and uses Bulk Up. It misses with Cross Chop and heals off with a Citrus Berry. Next, Water Pulse confuses and it misses again. We use Icy Wind and get it down to 1 HP. It hits itself in confusion, knocking itself out, giving us a sweet victory. I get this team is pretty simple on the surface. Her first Gengar spans double team, making it nearly impossible to hit. Wow, way to copy my plan. Get it because copy, making doubles. Anyways, our box is next, and this is where we struggle a bit. Intimidate lowers our attack so Shadow Ball is weakened. Water Pulse brings it down to barely half and uses Screech to harshly drop our defense. Another Water Pulse almost takes it down, but Iron Tail hits us hard and drops her defense. After she uses a full restore, it's a back and forth until we take it down with Water Pulse. Golbat is an easy one-shot with Icy Wind. Her second Gengar is able to get off the Hypnosis and locks us into a Nightmare. This is probably the first time I've seen this move used in Fire Red. While we're asleep, Sludge Bomb takes us down to 1 health. We thankfully wake up and take it out with Shadow Ball. Last is Haunter, and 1 Shadow Ball is all that's needed. Apparently Gyarados is our toughest challenge during this run. It can't do anything against us, and vice versa. I completely forget to restore Shadow Ball, so we only have Water Pulse and Icy Wind to work with. I go ahead and set up with Double Team, as this is the best time to do so. After some back and forth between us using Icy Wind and Water Pulse, to Gyarados using Bite and Dragon Rain to repeat, it eventually goes down. Aerodactyl survives a Water Pulse and uses Hyper Beam. As a recharge, so we'll take the chance to finish off with 1 more Water Pulse. The Dragon Trio is last on his roster, and they all fall to an Icy Wind each. Champion time, and although this took less time than Bruno, it felt way longer. Our first attempt and Pidgeot will use Sand Attack to lower our accuracy, or Feather Dance to lower our attack. We can set up with Double Team, but Charizard still one-shots us. Our main issue is that Icy Wind isn't able to one-shot Pidgeot. Actually, that's our first of many issues. Something I try out is replacing Water Pulse with Light Screen. Light Screen will reduce the damage we take from special moves by 50% for 5 turns. If combined with Double Team, we can be untouchable. Icy Wind and Shadow Ball don't do enough damage and Charizard one-shots us. After some trial and error as well as some leveling up, I came up with a new solution. Icy Wind doesn't freeze, and I don't want to teach Blizzard. We don't have any moves that can paralyze or burn. I got rid of Water Pulse and went with Attract. That Pidgeot can end this battle if not stopped at the start. Before setting up with Double Team, I use Attract. This causes the Pokemon of the opposite gender to become infatuated, or makes so they have a 50-50 chance of attacking. When mixed with Evasion from Double Team, this becomes a deadly combination. On Rhydon's turn, I max out our Evasion and use Icy Wind. Charizard gets infatuated and stays that way for the majority of the battle. After getting its special defense dropped, 1 last Icy Wind takes it down. Alakazam and Executor go down easily, but Gyarados is a pain once again. Eventually it does fall, and we become the champion with only using a Snorunt. This is the first time in a while that Fire Red has actually challenged me. Snorunt having a 50 stat in every category made this interesting to work from. Follow me on my social medias listed all down below. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.